You are listening to Waywut. This is a rabbit hole podcast where we cover topics ranging from sports to true crime and pop culture to weird facts. Just a little bit of everything. Really, it's just a couple of guys taking turns to present weird topics to each other. We publish episodes weekly and truly appreciate you joining us. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's get this episode started. Here we go.
Why, hello there, and welcome to yet another episode where I have the box of crayons and will color us another topic that made me say, wait, what? Joining me on the play rug is a man that only has a package of brown crayons, Darrell Holiday.
I would know the difference. I would know that I'd only have brown crayons.
You would have a bunch of brown crayons in there at least.
The only time I had troubles in kindergarten, well, and all the time, but like whenever they would have just the colored picture up on the chalkboard, and we'd have to color ours to look like it. And that kind of a teacher that we had.
Which teacher? Our
Miss
kindergarten?
Hayes. Oh, oops. I just
Miss
named her
Musgrave?
as. No, it was Miss Hayes in kindergarten.
Mhm.
She'd always sit there and stamp frogs on my paper and tell me how I did wrong. It's like, bitch, can you obviously not tell that I can't tell the difference between green, red, and brown? You bitch.
So we were talking about that the other day. So those are the two things you're colorblind on is just red and green. And then
Yeah. But, I mean, it screws with other stuff. So, like, depends on, I mean, there's some purples that might jack with me where I might think it's more blue. Stuff like that. I mean, and then there's like some neon greens that I might think are yellow. Something like that.
So what does this like a horror film look like to you when they do like a violent blood scene or something? Is it just
It looks like
brown?
there's blood. No. All right.
It's not bright red, right? It's not.
I don't know. You
don't know what bright red is. I'm sorry.
All right, here's the thing. Jason, describe red to me.
Describe red.
Yeah.
I would say like it looks like the color of a rose. Like the
No. Without an object. Because, I mean, I see roses. But, I mean, tell someone what the color red looks like.
it makes you want to stop.
See, that's the thing.
I know what you're saying.
With
You can't
you
describe
and your wife or whoever, people that can see color, you technically don't know that you're seeing what you're seeing looks exactly the same to them. We know it doesn't for me because, I'm colorblind and everything, I don't have the receptors in my eyes to pick up certain shades of reds and greens. But
well, that's true. Ashley and I, we get in, she'll say something's green and I'm like, no, that's blue. And then she's like, no, it's green. And I'm like, no, it's blue.
The dress is gold. No, it's blue.
Well, anyway, that's not what I want to talk about.
Hold on.
Today.
One other thing. I discovered something over the weekend.
Okay.
Californians don't know how to say crayons.
What they say?
Crayons.
Crayons?
Yeah.
Crayons.
Somehow we ended up while we were on our trip to DC, we came to like talking about how people pronounce things differently on certain things, and I didn't realize crayons was one of them. It did that came because like Trip, he was really loving it, so he started going through these list of words, and then like I'm like, my wife who's from California says crayons. And I'm like, what? I was like, all right, do you know what that, rayon, the material, Rayon? How do you say that? Rayon. Now put a C at the front. Crayon. No.
Like
That's not how that works.
Joke. No, Cool Whip joke on Family Guy. Yeah.
Cool Whip. Yeah, she found out Californians say a few things weird. Instead of syrup, they say syrup.
Syrup?
Uh-huh.
How do you say roof? You say roof or roof?
I say roof.
Roof. Roof.
Yeah.
Roof. It's different. That's a weird word.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we ended up going over that, but yeah. Just Californians apparently have weird accents and they don't know how to talk right.
Yeah.
Not like us.
No. We speak English good. We know how to do it real good.
We don't say stupid things like pop.
No, sorry, Bob.
That'd have been a total deal breaker for me when I was single. girl would be like, "Hey, would you like a pop?" And I'd be like, "No, it was really
Get out of
nice
the car.
talking to you, though.
Yeah. Take a hike.
I hope you find another person that doesn't know how to talk right." Okay, I hijacked your
No,
show enough. You can go ahead.
no. This is what we do. We get off on little tangents and then we have fun. But the time is, say, early 80s. We are little squirrels and little donkeys. Where are we at on Saturday mornings?
In front of the TV,
In front of the TV watching what?
cartoons.
Cartoons, absolutely. Whether it's Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, uh, Bugs Bunny. I mean, Flintstones, the Jetsons. I don't even
You're,
remember exactly
I was gonna
all
say
the
you're not even good
cartoons.
at the deep cuts. Like there's like
The GI Joe.
Captain in the Game Master. There was Pole
Wow.
Position.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, they made a video game. Is that the video game?
the video game. It was the video game first. It was like a wildly popular video game, and so then they
Mhm.
made a cartoon. And then there's that one I can't remember the name of it, where the dude like turned into a car. It was like a regular boy, but he would turn into a car. It was so weird. There's a
Weird.
lot of weird. There was one that I completely forgot about until I was at Lake Tahoe and I went to like a bagel shop and they had like a VH or they just basically had like they had an old Saturday morning cartoons running. And there
No.
was one I forgot it was I think it was like Captain Video, I don't know. It was like they would do like a music video on every episode towards the end. There'd be like an actual popular music video. And it
No.
was there was like some band that got zapped out to space and some evil intergalactic record producer was trying to jack with them.
Hmm. Wow. Well,
80s
when we're
cartoons.
yeah, since I whenever we were little, we were always watching cartoons. We didn't think nothing of it. We were sitting there just enjoying the cartoon. We see Tom and Jerry, on our screen. They're running around. Tom is trying to catch Jerry. He never catches Jerry. End of cartoon. Bugs Bunny's trying not to get killed by Elmer Fudd. Lots of things happen. End of cartoon. Uh, as we move into adulthood, we still watch cartoons, but the cartoons kind of changed a little bit. They got to more of the storylines and the animations got better, and of course the jokes got a lot better, and they even shoehorned in some jokes for adults.
Oh wait, hold on. No, I'm gonna beg to differ here with you. I'm will not as much as I love South Park
Well,
and
that's a
Rick and
different
Morty
type of
and
cartoon. Yeah,
Vortex and all that. Oh, so you're talking about regular kid cartoons nowadays.
yeah. I'm morphing into.
I'm just saying you can't say the jokes got better because as far as I'm concerned, Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny and early Daffy Duck are peak. That is like the
Oh,
pinnacle of a
oh
lot
yeah,
of
they're
things.
funny. But
All
I'm
right.
talking about like the Pixar movies. They're made for kids,
Oh,
but they'll start shoehorning in a couple of adult-oriented jokes that,
those are feature length films. Okay, so that's a
yeah,
whole other animal.
well, just cartoons in general. Just
Oh, you're being
cartoons as we're growing up. Like
okay.
Courage the Cowardly Dog. How that one had
Yeah, I
some
know it. I
funny
know it
jokes
very
in there.
well. And Adventure Time, and
Adventure Time. Adventure
there's
Time was a
another
great
really good
cartoon.
one. There's another really good one, The Amazing World of Gumball,
Yes,
and it
that was
has
freaking
like
hilarious.
jokes about like Street Fighter 2 that the kids watching it aren't going to get, but I saw it and I was dying laughing.
Yeah. Uh, as you said, alluded to just a second ago, how the cartoons now, you got The Simpsons, you got Family Guy, Futurama, of course, Rick and Morty, uh, South Park. You have all these cartoons that are almost just for adults in
Hmm.
itself.
They
I
are.
mean,
They
yes,
are for
Rick and Morty. I
adults.
mean,
Yeah.
that one's it's hilarious, but it is not good for your 5-year-old. Do not
No,
set them in front of a Ricky Morty
no.
cartoon and say, "Oh, it's a cartoon. This should be nice." No,
They'll be flipping the bird. Peace among worlds.
it'll be the one where he's getting jerked off by a horse milking machine.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, that was hilarious.
I don't know. Anyway, as a kid or as an adult, when we're watching cartoons, we're just watching cartoons. We're not thinking anything else. But other people, they think cartoons have hidden meanings, or do they just have too much time on their hands? So I wanted to look into some cartoon conspiracy theories and see if any of them hold water. Some of them are we may have heard before. Some of them I have not heard before. But if you really think about it, some of them could actually
How many of these are Disney?
just a few.
Okay.
Actually, hang on. One Disney, that one's Disney. That's not. That's not. I guess that one is now. No, only two from Disney.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
First one I want to talk about is the one we've all heard before: is Winnie the Pooh. How all the Winnie the Pooh characters have serious psychological disorders. This is actually, it may have come as a surprise, but it was actually in the Canadian Medical Journal actually published a report on this theory. According to the report, all of the characters living in the 100-acre wood are suffering from serious neurodevelopmental and psychosocial problems. Nevertheless, each character has been diagnosed and pretty convincingly too. First, Winnie the Pooh. He has been diagnosed with an eating disorder. You
Compulsive
kind of,
eater.
yep, you could kind of see that. Watch the cartoon. Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Piglet. He's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder.
Yes.
Once again, pretty spot on. Rabbit. A obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD.
I will disagree on that one.
Okay.
Being a neat freak does not make you have OCD. That is like what every freaking like teenager. I'm so OCD. I have
Have
to
to
make
clean. All
sure
right.
I have to clean everything. I won't eat out of buffets because I'm so OCD. No, OCD is debilitating. Like I cannot if I do not like flip the light switch 10 times before
Mm-hmm.
I go to bed,
Or open the
I'm going
door and close
to
the
die.
door 5 times for walking into a room.
Yes, if I
Mm-hmm.
don't, it is not a matter of preference the way that other, like neat freak stuff is. It is I mean, whenever it's a disorder because they think like seriously, if they don't do that, either something bad is going to happen in general, or something extremely bad is going to happen to them. I've heard this theory before, and the rabbit one I will argue with on that. I mean, it is I think there's probably some other stuff that they could probably throw at him on that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of a dick and he's a bit of a narcissist because he only really thinks about himself most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, I think the OCD thing, that's just like, well, he's a neat freak, so no, I don't. That one always annoyed me.
Yeah, it's kind of we'll say a cop out, but it's an easy one. Anybody can be obsessive about something if they just
He's not that obsessive though. He
right. But
just he
it's
likes
easy to
he
on that.
likes order.
He likes things to be clean and yeah,
He's a type A personality. That's it.
he's gone crazy by freaking Winnie the Pooh,
Yeah, I
always
mean,
jacking shit up.
I mean, like if it was really bad, he'd be, like they would move something and be like, "No, no, you can't do that. Everything's gonna go down
You
wrong.
scratch my CD,
The woods are gonna burn down. We're all gonna die." It's not that.
right. I agree on that one. I agree. Of course, Eeyore, that's an easy one. That's depression.
Yeah.
Owl, dyslexia and short-term memory loss.
Does he mix up things that he says, this reads or
From what
something?
I've read, yes, he kind of says some things backwards or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. I think he would have also been a candidate for narcissist because he's got he always seemed like he thought he was a bit too smart for
A
everybody, but
know-it-all.
whatever.
Yeah, shut up and lick that lollipop and count
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
them.
Anyway,
All right, Tigger. You're never going to guess what he's been diagnosed with.
ADHD.
Oh, man. How'd you guess that?
I don't know.
Kanga. Kanga is the kangaroo. This
I
one has, they say, social anxiety disorder. Overprotective of Roo, her little kid.
I call bullshit because she lets. I mean, Rue, his favorite one to hang out with is Tigger.
The crazy one.
Yeah. And I mean, if there's on top of that, so say Tigger is grown compared to Rue, then this overprotective mother lets her child hang out with a grown man that acts like a little kid. What does that normally turn into? Yeah,
No, yeah,
yeah, it's
no,
something not good,
something bad.
something bad. Overprotective, my ass. That bitch ain't overprotective. If he stayed in her pouch all the time, you can make that argument, but he doesn't.
Hmm.
She is actually probably one of the most well balanced. I mean, and the reason I would think that is because she barely shows up and she never has issues. She's never there trying to solve I mean, she might give like a solution or something here and there, but she's never in the thick of it when things go wrong. She's like she would pop in like, to like basically pick Rue up after he had whatever adventures that he had. But
Yeah.
Kanga was just kind of like she was just there. She was a token mother. And Disney
Well,
was like, "See, we don't kill all the moms." That's why she was there.
mm, no, I see what you're saying. Rue. Rue was diagnosed with autism. This little kangaroo lacks awareness of danger and has an attachment to being in his mother's pouch. Kind of hanging out with Tigger, that kind of coincides with
That's
the lax awareness of danger.
he has the same ignorance that any other child would. He's not like
I know.
reckless. He's not reckless. That is bad. That is shoehorning. Nope. I
Yeah, I'm
I,
just
I
saying
reject that.
these are people are having too
I
much
know.
time on their hands, and that's what we're
Whatever
talking.
Canadian person wrote that paper, that they had one too many Timbits that day or something
Hmm. All right, the last character, of course, is Christopher Robin, and he has been diagnosed with schizophrenia.
because he
All
has
the
all his
characters are
animals
said to be
talking to
made
him.
of, yeah, are based on his mood.
I noticed they left out Gopher.
Gopher,
Yeah, he
I
was
don't
he
even
was
remember
he would always
Gopher.
be digging. He'd always dig, and when he'd talk, he'd whistle through his front teeth. Uh,
Mm,
he wasn't on there all the time, but he was on there plenty. Uh, uh, Not so much. I don't know if he was in the movies so much as he was on the TV show back in the
hmm.
'80s. And honestly, what would they say? I mean, like, oh well, he's a well-rounded individual. He has a job and he just helps his friends out. He's a compulsive liar, maybe. I think sometimes he would try to act like he knew about things that he didn't. So
Yeah,
maybe.
so although some of these may fit to Winnie the Pooh and their characters, it's just a cartoon. It's just a
Well,
cartoon.
I mean, it was a book before that, and I doubt, I can't remember the name of the guy that wrote those books. Johnny Depp played him. No, wait, that's Finding Neverland. That's a different guy. Ewan McGregor played him.
Milne, M I
Milne?
L N Milne.
It
What,
doesn't sound familiar, but
Milne?
I
I don't
could be
know.
wrong. I don't know, but I mean, like it was a book first, and I'm fairly certain that wasn't like sitting there with his medical book finding psychological disorders. He had Winnie the Pooh was based on a sun bear, which it's a small bear that eats
Mhm.
honey. So
Once again, like you said, it's a
I
cartoon.
know, I know.
People have too much,
I'm
but
not just tell. I'm not. I don't mean to come off as aggressive. I mean, my beef is with the people that fed you this information.
oh yeah, if you think these are, just wait till I get to some of these other ones.
Okay.
Uh, since we're on the Winnie the Pooh subject, Winnie the Pooh has been compared, or yes, actually take that back. SpongeBob has been compared to Winnie the Pooh, and the SpongeBob characters have been diagnosed with similar psychological disorders. SpongeBob, ADHD, very similar to Tigger. He's
Mm,
completely bouncing around. They say he has a short attention span, except when it comes to tasks that he likes,
it's
cooking
true.
and jellyfish. We got Patrick. He's a representation of an intellectual disability.
Okay,
We,
good. I was going to
we,
say if they don't say he's
something's off.
yeah, got mentally incapacitated. I mean, come on.
Hmm.
I mean, it's funny though. You know why, right? Because
He's a
starfish don't have
starfish, don't brain.
brains.
Yeah.
They don't have brain. That's the joke. The guy that wrote that, Stephen Hillenberg,
Hmm.
he was a marine biologist. That's why it is what it is.
Hmm. Sandy Squirrel. Uh, they claim she has borderline personality disorder. Comes from her extreme mood swings and impulsivity, which leads to risky activities.
Like living under the ocean when you're a squirrel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Squidward, social anxiety disorder, depression, and even a bit of narcissism.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bit
All
of a
those.
prick.
Yeah. Mr. Krabs, he's more of OCD than what Rabbit was as far as money goes.
No, I wouldn't call that OCD. I would not. That honestly, that is more psychosis. I think like an actual like psychopath because I mean, well, no, whenever a psychopath, whenever there's something that they want, that is all that matters. It is fulfilling that need, and it is regardless of any kind of impact that it has on others because that doesn't matter. Uh, I mean, that's why they say that a lot of CEOs and high-ranking politicians tend to display some psychopathic
Mm-hmm.
tendencies.
Is that
Uh,
fine line?
yeah, and it's essentially the same thing with Mr. Krabs because Mr. Krabs is a guy that is well off and runs a successful business. Well, you can't do that without being a bit of a psychopath. So,
It's funny you say there was another theory I didn't write down, but it was saying how Mr. Krabs, he has that daughter that's a whale,
yeah,
that he's actually raising her to eat her, to use her for Krabby Patties.
I don't believe that because they have him too much of as a doting father.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, like he gives her whatever she wants. He spoils her. Now,
he
and,
fattens her up so he
on
can
top
make
of
her
that,
bigger.
no, on top of that, she can get him to spend money, which that is a big thing there. The now what I would not be surprised that'd be like a really cool fun theory is that he had a hand in like I don't know a couple of rich whales dying, and then he just happened to be the one that adopts their rich daughter. Maybe, huh? That seems like a Mr. Krabs kind of thing to do.
Uh-huh. Well, the only person or cartoon character we haven't mentioned yet on Squidward or SpongeBob is Plankton. He has antisocial personality disorder. Kind of see it. I don't know.
I mean, he's a. Well, no, I was gonna say he's a one note villain, but he's really not because he actually has like really sad moments. I mean, honestly, most of the time, and I'm not a big, huge SpongeBob fan, but I've watched enough of it to where I feel like most of the time, Mr. Krabs is the villain, and Plankton is just
Yeah,
a pretty good dude that just doesn't know how. Like you said, he's got antisocial tendencies, so he doesn't really know how to express
how to
himself
make friends.
properly.
Yeah, he'd
I
rather
mean,
hang out with people. Yeah, that beats him up than have nobody at all.
yeah,
All right. We talked about the Simpsons in the past in a previous episode about them predicting future events and whether they were bogus or not, and we pretty much determined that they got lucky in a couple things, but for the most part, they were bogus.
yeah,
But this theory, I kind of like it because I kind of thought, in a sense, how the Simpsons may have dropped the ball and not progressing some of their storylines throughout their 30 years of existence or whatever long they've been on air now. Is they're eventually going to run out of shit to talk about, and yet the kids stay the same age. The Homer and Marge never aged. So here is the theory:
okay.
Homer Simpson in a coma. So this aired in 1993. Fans believe every Simpsons adventure since has been in Homer's mind. The episode involved Bart shaking up a can of Homer's beer with a paint shaker.
April Fool.
I remember that one. When Homer opened the can, there was a huge explosion, and the next thing we know, he was in a coma for 7 weeks after being crushed by a candy machine at the hospital. Furthermore, previous episode, Homer the Heretic, had seen Homer pondering about the meaning of life while talking to God. After insisting that he cannot wait until he dies to find out, God says, "You can't wait 6 months?"
Yep.
And lo and behold, 6 months later, he fell into the coma. The producer, Al Jean, has tried to debunk this theory, but it still lives on. So I kind of like this theory because there's been plenty of episodes where the school, Homer or Bart and Lisa talk about getting out of school, having summer vacation, doing Christmas vacation. They're showing lapses in time, like and years should be going by, yet they're still the same age. Nothing has progressed.
All right. Um, things like this are fun,
Hmm.
and I do think it is an act of fun, and I don't want to poo poo any of that and be all like, no. But I mean, in reality, it's a show. It is a show
That
about
they
four
probably didn't mean.
characters
Hmm.
that unlike regular sitcoms where you always all of a sudden Michelle is you know a preteen and DJ is graduating high school or whatever. you know you don't have to deal with that.
Right.
You get to have them suspended for all time being the same age. Your cute kids get to stay cute kids forever, and still all of a sudden, instead of having to deal with their awkward phase, you
That's
know,
what serial killers say with why they kill kids is so they keep them the same age.
yeah, I'm sure that was the reason why on some.
I don't know. Like you said, it was a show that may have outlived its day. I mean, I'm a fan of The Simpsons, but
Fan of the
nobody
early Simpsons.
anticipated. Say that again.
Fan of the early Simpsons.
Right. I haven't watched it in a long time. Once again, otherwise they probably have outlived their stay. They were great. I mean, they were super funny, and they probably didn't mean to. They probably didn't know they were going to stay around for 30
Oh no,
years.
I guarantee you they didn't. But
So, like you said, they may have painted themselves some little box
I
and
don't
can't do
even
anything.
think they did that. I mean, it's just they're taking advantage of something that any other sitcom can't do, and that's why they get to last for nearly 40 years now.
Uh-huh.
Because yeah, people can age, but guess what? Everybody, all sorts of people can do voices. I mean, hell, the newest season of Rick and Morty had two new people doing Rick and Morty's voice after Justin Roiland got exited from the show, and didn't skip a beat. It sounds great. You can always get people to do those voices. Uh, and I mean, for the most part, they try not to do that. I mean, that's why one of the things that poke a hole in that theory is the fact that they have had some permanent deaths on that show, and characters permanently leave. I mean, because Mrs. Krabappel's dead.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ned Flanders' wife is still dead. Dr.
Yeah.
Marvin Monroe's dead. Bleeding Gums Murphy's dead. Uh, there was a guy that would just sit at the bar with Homer and never really said anything. He was always in
The
the
one arm
background.
guy.
He died. No, not the one arm guy. He runs the gun store. But there was
No.
always this guy that was sitting in the bar that always looked sad, that had like five long stringy hairs. Well, in one of the newer episodes, they killed him off, and it turned out that he considered all those guys their best friends, but they didn't know crap about him, and there's a whole episode about it.
Oh.
But so that I think that pokes a hole in the theory, but I think for the most part, it's them doing something that no other show can. You get to keep your people in this suspended state for all time, and then anytime you want to do something quirky, you have them like go to a fortune teller or
Where they
whatever,
show
where you
their
get to see
future
the
selves.
future.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
We've seen old Bart. We've seen old Lisa as the president. And,
so I mean, I just think they're just taking advantage of stuff that other shows wish they could do, and that's just
yeah. No, I get.
have their kids stay small, have the family dynamic stay the same, so the formula can keep on churning out the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah. Like I said, people just have too much time on their hands. But I do like that theory because I have
It's
thought
creative.
before. Yeah.
No, I like it. I love the creative aspect of it. That's why I said I'm not going to squash that one, because that is actually just trying to take an element of the story and look at it a different way, instead of the psychological disorder ones where they're all like, "Oh, this is supposed to represent this, that, and the other," and then I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, come on, jackass." But this one, I like whenever they do that. I mean, that's one of the fun things about Rick and Morty is a lot of guesses that people have about things. And it's funny because like the writer of that actually had to change something because people got it right, and so he didn't want to do it after that.
Oh, kind of like wrestling. If something gets leaked, they won't let that match go on the way it's supposed to end. They'll change that shit up to keep people guessing.
Unless
Oh, the
Roman
next one.
Reigns wins.
It's an old one. Once again, it's just a basic cartoon that people probably think too much of it. The more you think about it, I kind of agree. It let me explain it to you. Right, I'm talking about Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. This classic cartoon, Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, consists almost exclusively of Wile E. Coyote chasing Roadrunner through a deserted landscape over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's less likely that these two are alone in the desert playing a game of chase, and more likely that Wile E. Coyote is in his own personal hell. Consider how many times Wile E. Coyote gets blown up, or that massive Acme anvil falls on him, and how many times he keeps coming back. It's easy to root for Roadrunner and forget that we're watching Wile E. Coyote relive his worst nightmare every single episode. Once again, it's a basic premise of a show. Have a coyote try to catch a Roadrunner, have funny stuff happen.
All right. I mean, it's
But I
this
kind
is.
of like it. That's
I
what
mean,
when you see
it like you
hell
said,
depicted.
it's creative, whatever,
Hmm.
head canon.
Hmm.
Uh, but what's funny on this one is that early animations, it was always just a simple concept. This is the result of like people that have like grown up watching things that try to go deep, like Batman in the animated series and stuff, with these really deep plots and emotional character development and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so they want that. They try to impose that on things that came before that didn't really have it because it wasn't necessary. It was like, what's the concept? This guy goes after this guy. Bad things happen to that. Everybody laughs. That was it. I mean, because that was
Hmm.
always. I mean,
Yeah.
Sylvester and Tweety,
Yep.
uh,
Tom and Jerry,
Tom and Jerry.
Bugs Bunny, and whoever.
Yeah. There's always bad guy wants to get other guy. Hilarity ensues.
Yep. It's
Uh,
easy cartoon to write.
it was something like you get to watch somebody pursue something and fail, and you get to feel good about it because everything you pursue fails, and it's not funny. So you need to watch somebody else fail so you can laugh at their misery.
But as we learn more about hell and how it's depicted on movies and in TV, seeing somebody relive their worst day, whether it's in science class where they have to dissect a frog and they keep doing it over and over and over again, it's kind of like what Wile E. Coyote is doing. He's reliving his worst day of he's so
Yeah.
hungry and yet he dies from starvation and he goes to hell, but he's reliving that day of he can't quite catch that roadrunner.
Oh no, this is one of my favorite, not one of my favorites, but a really good Stephen King short story, which I will fight with anybody that tries to tell me that Stephen King is not a better short story author than he is a novel author. I mean, I love his novels, but his short stories just blow me out of the water. There's one where this woman she gets off a plane in Florida, and her and her husband are just driving through Florida, and she keeps feeling deja vu the whole time. Like she's sitting there thinking, "Well, I'm about to see a car that does this," but then she sees it, she starts trying to write it off, and she keeps trying to think of, she keeps seeing same things happen over and over. And as she nears where their destination, her memory starts coming back that she's already done this, and she starts seeing a fiery plane crash and
Oh,
visualizing all this, and then boom, it resets. She gets off the plane, they get in the car, and she starts feeling like, hey, like she's done this before. Really good story.
oh, that's interesting. I have to read that one. All right. I have several more on here, but since we're talking really well on all of these, I'm going to make this a part two, and I'm just going to do one more.
Oh, you
So,
cheeky bastard.
well, like I said, I have four more that all of them could be talked about in length.
I see what you're trying to get our audience, whatever
Yes,
size it
I'm
may be
setting
at
the
this
hook.
point. You're no. What you're doing is because I sat there and said that they have to comment for a part two on the, corners being, shady. I said they have to ask for a part two, and you're just like, "Don't worry, I'll give
I'm
it
just
to
going
you
to
for
give it
free.
to you.
I'm
You
just
don't
gonna give."
ask me.
You know, I love you more than Darrell does. Darrell
I'm just
doesn't
going to
love
give
you. I
it to you.
love you.
All right. So, do you want to talk about a recent one or something we watched with our kids? I ain't doing that. I'm not even going to offer you that one. Do you want an old one or a recent one?
Um, I would say, let's see. I don't know. I have reasons why I'd want either one. I've you know what? Let's stick with the theme. We've been like dealing with older cartoons.
All
Let's go
right.
ahead and
All right.
keep to the old.
This might be right in your wheelhouse. Scooby-Doo was set during an economic depression. No matter how outlandish the crimes got, it was always revealed to be some average Joe behind it all along, or there may be a dark reason behind all the madness. According to one fan theory, the original Scooby Doo series was actually set during a time of economic decline. This would explain why so many usually respectable people were running around in masks trying to lie and steal their way to the top. The depression was apparently so bad that even celebrities, athletes, and doctors made the list of villains. Even with a disguise, the gang always found the true culprit, and every time they found out it wasn't a monster after all.
You know, you get if you're gonna go this route, you have to take it one step further.
All right? What's that
Why
one
is
more
it
step?
that four white kids without a job go around and harass all these poor people? Because they're four rich white kids. They had nothing better to do but hang out with their dog, drive around in their stoner van with mommy and daddy paying for gas and stuff while they go town to town, fuck it up,
Solving crimes.
poor people trying to get a piece of the pie, and they're
Yeah.
like, "No, you stay back down with it 99%, bitch," and they're just
Oh,
thwarting their plans.
I kind of like you kind of added on to the theory is you're not disputing that it happened in the depression. You're adding on that it did happen
I'm saying
and
if you
you're
go on that
keeping
route, you have to
yeah.
go one step further. Why is it these four kids are
Mhm,
not
mhm.
being tortured by this depression? Why is it that they're not at home scraping up like one bean to try to split among themselves?
Yeah, they always
Because
have
mommy
gas.
and daddy could pay for their little rich white asses to go running around and harassing all the poor folk.
Mhm. Yeah,
Now, with that being said, uh, in reality, it was a kids show, and for to be a family show, the only crimes that they could really have being committed would have to
petty.
be money driven.
Yeah, petty crimes.
Yeah, it would have to always be money driven. They couldn't have some dude dressing up like a ghost stabbing women in the eyeballs. I mean, well, apparently that new Velma show that everybody hated, it was actually people getting murdered and stuff and them solving it, which is, whatever. But, you know,
It's
that's
very
what
simpler, or
That's why I was
very.
always like, why is this? Why all they needed was like, okay, we need somebody stealing money. Why does this person want money at? They throw the dart at the dartboard. Why does a person need money at this amusement park? Why
Mhm.
does this person need money at this old house in the swamp? You know, there's
It's just
always
very like it's like The Simpsons. It's a very small premise. Group of people that solve crime. What kind of crime do they have to solve today? Who's going to be the bad
It's
guy?
well, the crime was always the same. It was always for money. It
Yeah,
was always like, I need to get rid of these people so I could steal money from here, or that I
carnival.
could buy
Yeah.
this place cheap and resell it, or I could have this place closed down so that my business does better. It was always money driven
Mhm.
because that is something that families could hear altogether. And it's not, why was, Clown Bob, molesting all those boys? Because that would not be appropriate for family viewing. It'd be like, Roix,
Right. What roll?
Rutro, like Zoink Scooby put his penis in.
What roll?
It's the date rape ghoul, run! They're not gonna have that. They
No, I
couldn't.
know.
I
It's
mean, it has to be a simple concept, and for kids, all kids know is taking things that aren't theirs is bad.
yeah.
Grown ups that want to take money are thieves, and they get caught by good guys, and they get tied up at the end. That's what happens in cartoons,
Well, it's a
especially in the
cartoon.
'60s and
Simple
'70s.
premise.
Yeah.
Say instead of one antagonist and protagonist, you have a group and then a bad guy.
Like I said, I encourage headcanon. I love the creativity of why they always have like somebody to bust. I just think they need to expand on why these kids get away, why they get to go around doing that.
Mm.
Uh, there's a movie, and I think it's called Saturday Morning Matinee. And it's not they do not go by the names Shaggy, Fred, Wilma, and Velma and Daphne, but there is a redheaded girl, a nerdy brunette, a stoner guy, and a blonde jock guy with
Mm.
their dog. And what they do is they go from place to place and dispel paranormal uh, myths. All right, so it's like the
The
opposite of
wish
Ghost Hunter.
list. Yeah.
It's opposite of Ghost Hunter. So they'll go and they'll figure out how how this scam is happening, and that's their thing. And it's a horror movie. It's a horror comedy. I enjoyed it. I don't, I ain't gonna screw it up for you in case you ever watch it, but that's the premise. And that so at least, but even in this case, they had a reason to do it, and it was something that they were going to make money on because they get to go out there, they get views on whatever imaginary platform there. So the fanfic on that were depression. They should have went that extra step to explain why these
Why
damn
they're not affected.
or rich white bastards go around and screw up poor people with scams. Ain't right.
They keep that money for themselves. They keep that shaggin' wagon going.
Yeah.
Mystery machine.
Fred needs a place to bang his girlfriend, and Velma needs places to bang her girlfriends.
Well, that does it for this journey. Next week, Darrell turns in his brown crayons for a pen to tell us another topic that made us say, "Wait, what?" Until then, we'll see y'all later.
I hate you. All right, bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Waywut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday, and we'll throw an extra one on Fridays if we feel like it. Don't count on it. You never know. We would love for you to follow and rate us, review us, anything on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora, or just wherever else you listen to the podcast at. If you're watching this on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, notification bell, do all the things that YouTube likes for you to do so that, makes other people actually possibly find our videos. You can also stalk us on Facebook, X, or TikTok. Just search for the handle Waywut Podcast, WAYWUT Podcast. Once again, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time. We'll get you to say, "Wait, what?"